In 2019, the BCCI members came back into the administration. It was a new bunch of administrators led by obviously Jay Shah. You know, the one good thing that I saw happening in the ensuing years was, and BCCI doesn't take enough credit for it. Twice in the middle of the pandemic, y'all shifted an entire tournament from one country to another. I'll just to draw a comparison. In 2020, the first year of the pandemic, NBA in America had to be halted midway, right? So somewhere once there was some convenient windows available, the NBA authorities then shifted the remaining part of the tournament to Florida inside Disneyland. Yeah, they vacated the Disneyland and they got it done in a bio bubble. They made the media there in America made such a huge hue and cry about it that it is, oh my God, like NBA has shifted earth and water to kind of get this done. And BCCI actually shifted an entire tournament, not once but twice. In fact, the second time, midway through the tournament, from one country to another. It was a logistical nightmare. Any other board, I'm sure, would have held press conferences and talked about हमने ये किया, हमने वो किया. BCCI तो पूछो तो भी नहीं बोलता है कि हमने क्या किया.
No, I remember when Mr. Jay Shah took over as secretary of BCCI, the kind of apprehensions that were made. But now you have seen it yourself with the kind of leadership that he's given. I mean, in terms of the challenges that we have had during COVID in 2020 itself and then 21 itself, in the middle of season you had to take away the tournament to Dubai. Not only both the tournaments were completed successfully, but all the bilateral commitments by BCCI to all the member boards were lived up to. That shows his commitment to all his member boards, and that is why you have seen him becoming the youngest ICC chair, because he has shown the resilience and the perseverance to fulfill his commitments in terms of completing the IPL, in terms of meeting all the bilateral requirements. Even in fact, we went overboard and went to few countries who were wanting BCCI to come so that they could survive at that point in time.
Exactly, this is where I was going to say, I mean, and I've spoken to Jay also about this, where today people only see how England and Australia, are supportive of BCCI and Jay, at the ICC. They're not looking at the kind of work that went into this relationship building exercise in 2020. Cricket Australia was not in a great financial state, and the pandemic was at its worst. BCCI could have easily said that India cannot travel at this point because it wasn't convenient for Indian cricketers to go stay inside locked rooms. We all know what all the team had to go through. But that's the beauty. Indian cricket made sure that it stood strong on all their bilateral commitments. For example, even in 2021, when the tour of England had to be halted midway, the COVID had spread, we made sure that a year later we went there and we finished the series, so those commitments, actually, I mean, a lot of credit to how Jay has managed that.
No, definitely. That's what I'm saying. That is why he's got that kind of respect, and he got elected unanimously because people have seen him delivering.
Asia Cup is another example.
Asia Cup is another example. Then we went to Sri Lanka also in between the pandemic. Then we completed that England tour. There are many countries which could never fulfill those commitments for some or the other reason. There was some nonsensical reasons also at some point in time that they are given not to fulfill their commitments. But BCCI made sure that it lived up to every commitment that they had made, and went overboard also at times to make sure that whosoever need BCCI to travel to that country in between that tough situation, we ensure that. And that is why we have got respect. And when it came to ICC elections, everybody was like, we would want him to lead us. And that is how he's come there. So I would like to thank and compliment him for the leadership that he has shown over the years, and the commitment that got fulfilled has brought this day.
Talk about the same commitment level. I don't know how, when it is visible, what is it that forces people to be so oblivious to some of these things? For example, this so-called World Players Association, although the BCCI does not recognize or even kind of identify with it, but I mean, they've been making so much noise about how BCCI runs Indian cricket. Whereas I think they are really oblivious to a lot of things that the BCCI does. For example, what you just said about Cricket Australia, had we not gone there in 2020, I know for a fact that Cricket Australia was on the verge of bankruptcy. And how BCCI's commitment to Tour Australia actually kind of gave them a new lease of life. Similarly, Asia Cup, the Asian bloc subcontinent. We just sold ACC, the Asian Cricket Council just sold the rights, media rights, at a base price of 170 million. Again, Jay was the heading the ACC. India doesn't really need anything out of that 170 million. BCCI doesn't need that money.
Right.
It is peanuts.
It is like, minuscule to.
But that money is helping Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Afghanistan, at one point Pakistan. I don't know if those relations will continue anymore. At one point, everybody was benefiting, and thanks to Indian cricket's largesse. Interesting. I really hope people understand. My only thing is, even as somebody who's tracked the Indian cricket administration for a long time, I just feel that there are people who really don't understand the complications of a country like India, and they tend to make comments of which they don't really have a full grasp.